Welcome to Families in Action on your local hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. I'm Cary Quashen, one of your hosts. The other host is Michael Doherty. We call him actually the Silver Fox here at AM 1220.
The Silver Fox is here once again.
That's right. Hey, Mike, did you know that Families in Action is brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS? We've been on the air going on, I guess, 13 years?
Yes.
Depending on who you ask.
Now we have, well, no. Now we have to. Stephanie,
okay,
our producer,
right,
has said, would you please, for me, do a mea culpa? In other words, she misspoke. In fact, I have it right here, but I don't have it right in front of me at this moment. But I'm getting it. Here we go. Look at this. This is the exact. November the 11th is our 13th anniversary.
So
it's coming up.
So after November 11th, we're going to be moving on to our 14th.
On to the 14th.
I got it. So everybody's kind of right?
Right. So she did come out and say, I misspoke.
Stephanie, I can't believe it.
Wow, really?
I know. Unbelievable. Also, we're brought to you by Action Family Counseling, which is alcohol and drug treatment centers and mental health. And we have everything from inpatient residential to detox to outpatients to interventions to you name it. And then the Action Family Foundation, I'm going to give that to you.
Cary, you know what? There's two cool things that come to mind.
Lots of cool things come to mind, right?
There are, but two cool things that I really think are neat. Free parent support group every Tuesday from 7 to 9 at Canyon High School. You're there
for a billion years.
Yeah, you're there. This is a biggie.
We've been in this valley. I was just thinking about that. We've been at Canyon High School for a few years. Before that, we've been at Saugus High School. And and we go back, I'm talking 25 years.
Wow.
Maybe longer, because it was tough love and then it was action. So we've been here for a very long time doing parent and teen support groups. And who should go to our parent and teen support groups? Anyone that has a kid. Or anyone that wants an education in what's going on with kids, or anyone that thinks, is something wrong with my kid? Because
the parents get educated here as well.
Yeah, and I really believe the stronger parents get, the better kids get. And I'll tell you what, you don't help kids treating kids. You don't. You help kids treating families. And when we empower moms and dads, kids have to do better.
Right, because when you're through with your treatment and they go home, it has to continue.
Yeah, or even in a group. I mean, you bring a 14 or 15-year-old kid, let's say they're running away from home, they're using drugs, they're smoking weed, they're having a great old time. Why should they stop? Because mom said so? It doesn't usually work that way. So we have to empower parents. And by the way, to tell a 14-year-old kid, hey, it's going to stunt your emotional growth, it's going to take your motivation, it's going to blah, blah, blah. These kids don't believe that.
Their brain doesn't get that.
No, it can't. The brain's not developed enough yet. So what do we have to do? We have to educate the parents enough so if they get it, if they really get it, they will take a hard line and the kids will do better. So I was talking to some of the parents, why do we have to come? They said, look, if it was up to me and I had to send the kids home or the parents home, I send the kids home.
Oh, yeah.
I would let them go home and work with the parents to empower them and give them knowledge, and then they would go home and make things happen. So it starts at home with the parents.
Every Tuesday from 7 to 9, Canyon High School, and it's free.
It's free. If you want to pay, that's fine. But you don't have to.
You're taking donations.
We'll take your money.
He'll take donations.
But it is absolutely free. In fact, we're even drug testing there. We're not even charging that.
Wow.
So yeah, why are we doing that? Because every 19 minutes, what's going on in this country?
Every 19 minutes, someone in the U.S. dies from an accidental overdose, which means during the 1 hour of our show, 3 people will be gone. In fact, in 10 minutes, someone will expire. And we're not saying that to make fun or anything. This is horrible. It should not be taking place.
No, if I was to open my phone, and I do this usually every week here, I'm not going to do it today, and just start reading the emails of people that are dead that I get every week from across the country, it would sadden everybody.
No, you've shared some of them with me. They're horrible.
You know, they really are. So we have to get a grip on it. And okay, so our 14-year-old, is a 14-year-old that's smoking weed going to use heroin? I don't know, but I could tell you this. Almost every heroin addict that I've ever met started by smoking weed. Almost every one. So we really have to take a look at that, and some of the reasons why is, think about this for a second. When we're young, we all have what I call contracts. When I grow up, I want to be what did you want to be when you were young?
Baseball player.
A baseball player, exactly.
Our board operator wanted to be a baseball
But you know
player.
what so many young kids do? They want to be baseball players, football players, right? Boxers, fighters, UFC champions, or whatever, the cops, veterinarians. They want to do something that's either exciting like baseball or helpful to the world like vets and cops and doctors. Okay, and then those are those contracts. We also have another set of contracts. Remember these? When I was young, when I get older, here's things I will never do. Remember those? What were some?
Shoot, I don't know. Smoke cigarettes.
Smoke cigarettes. Why would you never smoke a cigarette? Because I could tell you why. Because on almost every pack, here's what it says. It says one of a few things, right? It says smoking contains carbon monoxide. What's carbon monoxide?
It's something that your lungs don't want.
You might as well put your mouth around a muffler. That's carbon
right.
monoxide.
That's right.
So it's poison. It kills you. Or it says something like this. The Surgeon General has determined. Used to say might.
Might.
Now it says the Surgeon General has determined. What does that mean? Determined. For sure, right?
For sure.
That smoking causes. This is what it says. It doesn't say might. That smoking causes. So here, let me say that again. The Surgeon General has determined that smoking causes lung cancer, emphysema, and it says a few other things.
Well, my mom died of emphysema from smoking.
My mother died a few years ago. My father died at 47 from cancer, cigarettes, and probably drugs.
Yeah.
So my mom died, she was 70-something years old. We went to the doctor, and she had stage 4 cancer. And I'll never forget this. She looked at the doctor and said, "How did this happen?" I will never forget what this doctor, he looked at her dumbfounded and said, "Esther, it says it on the box." The room got completely silent. There was a nurse, my mother, and me. What can you say to that?
You can put that in perspective because it starts with that very first cigarette.
Exactly.
You start killing yourself with that first cigarette. But because it doesn't happen overnight, it happens over years. All of a sudden, the COPD or the cancer or whatever catches up to you, and you go, "Oh no, I'm in trouble." But you've been doing it since the first time you sucked that smoke down your lungs.
Too late now, but it's too late.
Yeah, it is too late.
We have one body. If we really screw it up, we're in big trouble. So think this through for a second. So we have these contracts. Why would a adolescent smoke his first cigarette? Knowing that it causes cancer.
But Cary, I want to be cool.
But let me tell you what happens when we speak. You're right.
The
But
cool
let me tell you what happens when we speak. We speak in all kinds of schools, right?
Yes.
Through our nonprofit, we go to high schools and middle schools and sometimes even elementary schools. When we go to elementary schools, we change our tone of speaking. We talk about peer pressure, making good decisions. Not so much about drugs, a little bit of drugs, but they're so young. But at the end of almost every one of these groups, there's a few kids that are pretty emotionally distraught. And when we ask them, "Well, what's going on?" guess what they're afraid of?
My parents smoke.
My parents smoke. Are they going to die?
Mm-hmm.
These are what your kids, parents that are smoking cigarettes, these are what your kids are thinking when they're young. Because they're learning in school that cigarettes kill you. Then they come home and they watch mom and dad smoke. Pretty disgusting, pretty sad.
I have to tell you a quick story. I was actually, I worked in radio and television motion picture production.
Right.
And I was actually doing a series of commercials, public service announcements they were. And one of them required a very disheveled woman to take a puff on a cigarette. And I actually used my wife. She was going to be kind of in the shadows, right? Well, she didn't smoke. I didn't smoke. Nobody in our family, in our immediate family, smoked. And our son was there when we were shooting this, and he was young. He got so upset with me asking his mom to smoke and seeing his mother smoke just really bothered him a lot. And we had to sit down and say, well, she didn't obviously suck it into her lungs. She just did it for the camera, and she's not going to do it anymore. But he was very upset.
The amount of children that I deal with, it comes to our groups that are really worried that their parents are going to lose their lives because of cigarettes or other secrets that kids aren't supposed to know about them drinking and getting high and that kind of things. If I want to know what's going on in a parent's house and they have 6 and 4 years old and 5 and 7 year olds, those kids tell me everything. They know everything. They know where it is, when it's being used, when the kid snuck out, when mom is smoking. I mean, they know everything. So the secrets that we think we have really aren't secrets. We're kidding ourselves. But there's only 2 reasons a kid would smoke a cigarette today. Remember, we have these contracts, right? The first reason, Mike said, the cool kids are doing it.
Yeah.
And I mean, believe me, it looks glamorous when you look over there at school and there's all those guys hanging out on the corner and they're smoking and laughing and the girls are with them. It looks glamorous.
In the 40s and 50s movies, all those classics that you see, they're just
Of
smoking
course.
like there's no end to it because they made it look very glamorous.
Right, so these kids are going, I want to be one of those cool kids. Needless to say, those cool kids end up in big trouble. Not all of them, but a percentage of them end up in big trouble. They die young from cigarettes and all those kind of issues, have substance abuse problems, and I can go on forever. But so that's one of the issues. That's one of the reasons, peer pressure. What's the next reason? There's only 2 reasons a kid would smoke. Peer pressure and, first, they don't get you high, right? They don't make you feel good. So what is it? What's the second reason? It's a learned behavior from home.
Okay, so they are following.
They're following
their
mom or dad.
parents, yeah.
So here's what happens. Little Johnny goes to school. Somebody says, "Hey, he's 14 years old, 13. Hey, want a cigarette? Oh no, I'll never smoke. They kill you. They cause cancer." Goes to school. He's still hanging out with these cool kids. Everybody's smoking every day. What's going on with little Johnny? He's getting what you call desensitized.
Mm-hmm.
It's not such. Everybody around him is doing it. So one day he just says, "Oh, what the heck? Give me a hit," and he takes his first hit. What did he just do? He broke
his contract.
He broke a contract that he made when he was in kindergarten or elementary school or something. So how do you clean that up? It's really easy. It's only a cigarette. I'll never smoke weed, and he means it. But who's he hanging out with?
The cool kids.
He's still hanging out with the cool kids, right? So one day, 13, 14, whatever age,
Yeah.
somebody walks in and says, want some weed? And he says, oh, no, I'll never use drugs. What do you mean drugs? This isn't drug. This is pot. It's natural. God put it there for us to smoke.
Yes.
And,
They make
and he
it
says,
sound
oh, no,
so.
because he's scared.
This spice.
Yeah. But everybody starts smoking it, and, they're all laughing and giggling and having a great time. And what's going on with little Johnny? He's getting what? Desensitized again.
Yeah.
Now he's telling himself the same thing everyone else is saying right now in this society. It's not really a drug.
Yeah.
It's only pot. So what does he do? He takes his first hit. What did he now do?
Well, he's completely broken.
He's
Not only has he broken the contract, but now he's moved on.
He's broken another contract, but even a little bit more than that. He just smoked something that made him what? Feel
good.
Different,
Feel
good.
different, yeah.
And if anyone tell you drugs make you feel bad, they're lying. Drugs make you feel good. That's why we have drug addiction. If somebody smokes something or uses something and it makes them feel different and better than anything they ever felt before, how do you tell someone that's bad? That's what we're fighting. So that's the pot part. Okay. Now let's just stay with pot for a minute. We need to move on to contracts, but let's stay with pot just for a minute. I own drug rehabs, right?
Right.
Outpatients, residentials, inpatients. They fly me all over the country to speak, right? I've been on numerous television shows on this thing, so they consider me an expert. I don't know that I'm an expert, but I know a lot. So here's what I do know. That when an adolescent starts smoking weed at, let's say, age 12, and then they call us at age 13 and this kid is smoking a lot of dope, I don't even want to take them.
Right.
They're too messed up. They're too addicted to this drug. They're emotionally not old enough to even figure it out at that age. So a lot of times I will refer them to programs that are a year plus long so their brain can catch up. So now they're 15 or 16 and they're smoking a lot of pot. They're a little bit more there so I can treat them better. And here's what happens. Marijuana THC has a 7-day half-life. Meaning in 7 days, half's gone, the other half stores in your fatty cells. Where are your fatty cells? Everywhere. Your brain, your heart, your sex organs. I mean, we're getting kids with holes in their hearts, ear infections, ADD, ADHD. Wonder why. But here's what else is going on when these adolescents start smoking a lot of pot, even adults. But let's just look at it a little different. Adults' brains are developed. Adolescents' brains are not developed till what age?
Well, they're actually in the mid-20s.
Exactly, but we're getting so many kids, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, that are smoking pot. Nobody wants to do anything about it, and parents don't even want to attack it because everybody's doing it in their mind. That's, by the way, that's not true. Everyone is not doing it.
No.
So what happens is they start getting what I call short-term memory loss, these kids, because of the way it's storing. Meaning, why didn't you do your homework? I forgot. Why didn't you turn in your homework? I forgot. Then they start losing their motivation. Why don't you want to go to baseball? It's boring. What's wrong with dance? It's boring. Why don't you want to go to Uncle Harvey's house? It's boring. So all that stuff starts coming because their short-term memory's gone. They lose their motivation. Then we have other issues or problems where their long-term memory starts going and they start not caring much about anything. So that's just pot. So all the other drugs I call what you call drugs of opportunity. Make sense?
Sure.
Meaning what?
Meaning you're at a party and you're smoking pot and you're already high and somebody comes along and says, hey, try this. It'll really give it to you.
So you said you never smoke a cigarette, you smoked a cigarette. You said you never smoked weed, you smoked weed. You started drinking a little bit when you're sleeping out at Tommy's house. Now you go to a party, you're 15 years old, there's all kinds of stuff going on, and trust me, parents, we have all of the drugs here in Santa Clarita. You name it. Ecstasy, there. Cocaine, there. Opiates, absolutely. Heroin, for sure. That's what's here right now. So little Johnny goes to a party. He starts smoking a little bit of weed. He starts drinking a little bit of alcohol. What's the first thing that happens when somebody starts getting tipsy and high?
Well, your inhibitions.
Your what?
Your inhibitions.
What does that exactly mean?
Well, what that means is suddenly you're not as defensive about things as you were.
Try this.
And plus, you're a little more brave.
Try this.
I can really go in that.
Try this.
Yeah.
Try it.
Exactly.
No. Have a little bit more booze, smoke a little bit more weed. Try this. Well, what the heck? One time won't hurt. One time won't hurt. How many times do you think it takes to get emotionally addicted to these drugs that are out there? I'll name them for you, just so you know: ecstasy, cocaine, crystal meth, heroin. How many times?
Well, once.
Why?
Because your body says, hey, that was great, I want more.
It's a shortcut to the pleasure zone of your brain.
Right.
Crystal meth, you take one hit, and within seconds, you feel different and better than you ever felt before in your life. True story, true statement.
That's true.
So that's why people are chasing these drugs forever. I know so many people that I dealt with, and I said, when did you get addicted? And they said, the first time I tried it.
And the sad part about it is they have to continue increasing how much they do to get where they want to go.
What time is it?
It's 12:22.
So, okay, so not 12:22. 3 minutes ago, somebody died.
From an overdose.
In this country. And you know how they died?
Just doing what I said.
By breaking contracts that I just said. By smoking a cigarette, smoking a little bit of weed, going to a party, trying something else, falling in love with it, and dying.
Right. Sad.
And I guess what I'm going to say is all drug abuse starts innocently. It's an innocent deal that we're just playing around, meaning no harm to anybody, and before you know it, bang, big trouble. And it's not one of those kind of things that you could tell it's self-will. Stop. People that are addicted to drugs can't just stop.
Right, and we have those people that are in recovery with your program that come on this show and talk about what they went through, and it was not a pretty picture. I mean, somebody saying I was addicted to heroin, and every waking moment of my life was all in this pursuit of getting high,
giving up families,
even getting up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom wherever they were behind the bushes, and the only thing they could think of is how am I going to get high when I wake up.
You want to know if you're an addict or an alcoholic? Here's the deal: when you wake up in the morning and you go to the bathroom, and the first thing on your mind is how am I going to get high today, you're an addict. If you got to figure out where you're going to get it, how you're going to get it, you got a problem. On that note, Michael, we could take it now.
Okay. You're listening to Families in Action here on KHTS AM 1220, your hometown station. We'll be right back.